So let's do this in order. I love these questions. They're very sharp. And okay, on PMF, right? I think in your category, okay, I'll tell you about our category, right? Our category is very different from your category because in our category, consumers use our products alone inside the privacy of the bathroom with no word of mouth. No one talks about a razor afterwards. So my only real PMF, which is a good thing, then my only real PMF proxy is repeats. That's it, right? But in your world, this is about status signaling, it's about smartness signaling, it's about word of mouth, it's about a lot of that, right? I think in your world, I like what Shiv said about Instagram friendly, Instagram ready, right? I think shareability becomes critical. So one easy proxy, of course, is repeatability. So if someone comes in tries one product, then do they come back with a basket size of 2? Would be a great filter to see. And if that number is above 20%, then that product, the first product is probably has PMF. The second one is that can you incentivize people and like kind of ride this wave of being smart, right? That if Shantanu buys a Cove Lane, and then Shantanu wants to be smart in front of his friends, and he refers Cove Lane, and Shantanu gets rewarded for that referral. So one is a very standard vanilla referral program. But if you can make it really worthwhile, that if someone is sharing on Instagram and there's engagement on mentions, and then there's engagement on referrals, through incentives, you can actually get very quick early data on PMF for at least a style or a fabric. Because you know that this person's sharing, this person's getting their friends to buy, and this person's repeating with above two basket size. Then you know, and if that number is above 20% triangulated, I think you would have hit PMF.
So is it a fair way to say that instead of product market fit, it's category market fit?
Consumer market. Like, I think for the consumer to buy more, yeah. For me, that's part of consumer fit. And then you might see, and then you can cut it. You can say that maybe men in this age group with this propensity of price are possibly the ones who are. So I found PMF for this particular kind of consumer. I've not found it for, let's say, the 45-year-old European person who might want it, for example. And my view is on PMF, you will have 1 in 10 styles hit PMF in the first year. But if you see that data, that number should go to 3 in 10 in the next year, and then 5 in 10, and then you get better and better at it. Because you won't hit a lot of PMF in the first year. If you are, then either your assortment is too short, or you're really lucky and you will not be able to recreate. I don't know how you guys think about PMF.
So I'm going to take the first one and the second one together, because I think to me, the second one is about data, and it's again how you found it and all. And I think I have I said product market fit in apparel is the last thing. I'm like, okay, what does that mean? But I think you said you have 10,000 customers. I'm going to talk about a very different world, which is football. Okay, where Man City, because I know one of the data scientists, they have 14 players. Okay, 11 plus 3 kind of thing. How much data they have on 14 players? 400 million.
Yeah.
14 players, 400 million. Then you say, what do you measure?
Everything.
Everything. Everything. How many times in a match did he go and use the towel?
Yeah. How long did he hold on the ball to?
Everything. How much time did he look at the neck turns were done? Because am I seeing most? It's like 14 players, more than 400 million data points. I think the question was figuring out what of that data is relevant versus not.
Right.
What is noise? What is causality? What is correlation? What is X? And he said, look, every club has that. In the EPL, this is not like, oh, Man City has something more, Arsenal doesn't, or Spurs don't. Everybody has it. But it is the key is to figure out what is right. And he says, it doesn't help us about the players. This is when you introduce a new player in, how does all of this change? He says, at Formula 1 cars have even more stuff there. So I'm just saying that, to me, I'm saying, look, the way I can answer this very simplistically is to say, you just buy 1 season, 2 seasons. It's okay, don't worry about this. Worry about getting many other things right. Make a few mistakes, because only when you make a mistake do you know whether it was a mistake or not. Okay, so long as they're cheap mistakes. Okay, you don't want to fail the failure faster. But Otherwise, I think what I was very shocked by was he was saying, look, the lot of our thing is generate more data, generate more collision points, as was being said. What does the player do during training? This is like immense, because we need to know his nutrition and hydration has to be individually changed, because what works for X will never work for Y. There is so many things different about their shoes. I'm looking at it, I'm saying, shit, their data science, it's expensive. Each one of these players is several millions of dollars. And you get one wrong, you have only finite resources. Of course, if you're owned by the Middle Eastern folks, it helps.
And a correlation is such a beautiful math. It's mathematical magic if you can get correlations right. Because a lot of us think of data science as the ability to kind of filter. But it's actually about correlation between variables that we don't know. And especially when you have a lot of styles across seasons, across consumers, and you have a lot of variables. So we did the auction strategy for IPL 10, 12 years back. And the correlation that we found, the team, this is a McKinsey team, was for bidding for the number 2, the number 4 batsman, like 2 down. The one that is most successful is the one who can actually take a single on the first ball of an over. Because that means that person is able to rotate strike to either a pinch hitter or an opener in form. So they bid highest at that time for the person whose data suggested that on the first ball of the over, he's able to take a single. That means he doesn't need time to adjust. And it was crazy correlation. And then that was the Mumbai Indians strategy, and then they changed the way they...
The guy who started this was Moneyball.
Yeah.
James Bean.
Absolutely. You're the guy who started it.
No, but I think the other one, so this is one, I think don't assume you have less data. You may not be capturing it. You may not be using it. Okay, that's a different thing. I think secondly, the other insight which I got from some very good founders is that they're saying, look, I really need to know my consumer well. You're talking of product, channel, market fit, but I'm saying my customer, who is my customer? And we started getting into this discussion saying, woman buying for woman, herself, woman buying for man buying for himself, man buying for woman. So who is the customer? Okay, and why did they buy? And more importantly, why did they not buy? If digital and all, and it's not just about the car, it's like about where was the eyeballs at that time, what was distracting, what was not. So if the more you know about the customer, right now just capture as much data as you want, because if you want to get better at PMF or PCMF or whatever, either you make mistakes and then you say, okay, I'll learn, and you will have a few successes. You will get lucky also. I mean, luck works both ways. But the more data you have and the more you analyze it, I think your chances of seeing everything becoming, or many industries, the other day somebody was telling me wine and vineyards are now becoming so much more data and science driven. Saying, because somebody is explaining to me that, yeah, and then seeing the sulfur, whatever sulfuration is happening, and you need sensors there, and you say, okay, by the way, this is the point where I need to change stuff, and the casket. I'm like, oh shit, I always thought wine was about like going in and crushing the grapes, and it's such a nice thing. Like, no, all of that. So they have transformed it, saying that data was always, and you used somewhere in your slide, no, bias. That is not bias. Bias is subconscious data that an expert already has with him. Now, if you ask, by the way, this is the data that you have, but I'm sure there are enough data that others have, people who have left them, ex-employees, you can get access to all of that. So I'm saying, if you want access, now Shiv, just now when he said is viscose and fiber and so on, like he has so much data in his head because he's done that business for so long. Okay, it's not captured, it's there in his head. It will be there in like 10 others. Can you extract that? Because you don't have to learn from your mistakes. Smartest is learn from somebody else's mistakes. You can, of course, verify and corroborate that, but learn from others' mistakes, create your own experimental points, and then you will know. But I just think you're asking the question too early, because one season good, one season okay, one season men did, one season women did, one season something worked. It's okay. It's not about the exact holy grail. It's what did I learn about the woman who is 25 to 27? Is there a difference between 25-year-old, 30-year-old? Did she do impulse purchase? Had she been coming on thing and then she bought? I'm saying it is the kind of questions you will ask that data that you already have, which may give you 5 other insights. So are you asking enough of the right questions? Okay, because as somebody said in interrogation, the whole thing is not about the answers, it's about the questions. It's about the sequencing of the questions. And that's what makes, you can squeeze the data and massage it and all, but do you know the right questions to ask? Or should you ask the data, or would you do your focus group? Would you just see how consumers are shopping for your products? See as in a different context. In the initial days of call centers, there were expert listeners who were just saying, okay, tonality, okay, the tone of the person who's asking for it and all. And this is again covered in the confidentiality kind of a thing. One of the most successful law firms in the world, okay, they used to record all conversations that their lawyers would have when talking to the client or talking to the opposite side to test for is that going to be a lie or not? And they were more litigation experts. And they were saying, I know this guy when he is bluffing and all, because now we have enough data. So the data was on the voice. So when your customers, you're saying, I'm getting a call from the call center. Somebody's calling to say, Sanya, your product was beautiful. I didn't like this. Enough layers there. And that law firm knew when to settle, when to do all of it. But you're saying, shit, were you able to, is it legal to record? I said, no, in some states it's legal. I'm recording for quality monitoring purposes and blah, 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 all of that. So get the legal thing right.